What if I told you the very walk you trust to keep your body healthy after 60 might actually be accelerating joint damage, weakening your balance, and increasing your risk of a life changing fall? Every week in my practice, I meet older adults who are doing exactly what they've been told for years: walking daily, staying active, trying to do the right thing. And yet, they come in with knee pain, hip stiffness, fatigue, or a growing fear of losing stability. Not because walking is wrong, but because no one ever showed them how small mistakes can quietly change everything. Here's the reality most people never hear. After 60, your body becomes far less forgiving. The same habits that felt harmless decades ago can now place stress on your joints, your spine, and even your heart. And the most dangerous part, these mistakes don't feel wrong while you're doing them. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you 5 common walking mistakes that may be slowly working against your health, so you can protect your body before the damage becomes something you can't ignore. Before we dive in, if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you hit that button and turn on the bell so you never miss another health tip made just for you. If you enjoy this video, type 1 in the comments. If not, type 0 to let me know how I can make better content for you. Mistake number 1: starting your walk too fast. It may feel like a sign of discipline, stepping outside and immediately walking at full speed. But for many adults over 60, this one habit quietly places more stress on the body than the walk itself. I've had patients tell me, "Doctor, I only walk for 20 minutes, so I try to make it count right away." And I understand that mindset. Time feels valuable, energy feels limited. But here's what often gets overlooked: your body at 65 does not transition from rest to movement the way it did at 35. When you first wake up, or even after sitting for a while, your joints are in a relatively stiff, unloaded state. The cartilage in your knees and hips relies on movement to receive nutrients, but that process doesn't happen instantly. It requires gradual motion to distribute synovial fluid, the natural lubricant that protects your joints. When you start too fast, you're essentially asking your joints to perform under pressure before they're ready, increasing friction at the exact moment they're most vulnerable. At the same time, your muscles are cooler and less elastic. This is especially true for the calves, hamstrings, and lower back, areas that are already prone to tightness as we age. Sudden intensity increases the risk of tiny muscle strains. You may not feel them right away, but over weeks and months, they build into stiffness, soreness, and reduced mobility. Then there's your heart. After 60, your cardiovascular system needs a more gradual adjustment. Blood vessels are less flexible, and heart rate regulation is slower. When you jump straight into a brisk pace, your blood pressure can spike more sharply than necessary. For someone managing hypertension or even mild cardiovascular concerns, that's not a small detail. It's a repeated stressor. The solution is simple, but it requires intention. The first 3 to 5 minutes of your walk should feel almost too easy. A slow, relaxed pace. Let your arms move gently. Let your breathing settle. This isn't wasted time. It's preparation. It's what allows the rest of your walk to be effective instead of harmful. If you pay attention, you'll notice something important. After those first few minutes, your body begins to feel smoother, lighter, more coordinated. That's not coincidence. That's your system coming online the way it's supposed to. And here's something most people never consider. If starting too fast can quietly strain your joints and heart, what do you think happens when your posture is off for the entire walk without you realizing it? If you're still watching and finding these insights helpful, please comment number 1 below. to let me know you're with me. Now let's move on to point number 2. Mistake number 2, walking with poor posture, the forward head habit. You can walk every single day and still feel more tired, more stiff, and more off balance, simply because of how you hold your body while you move. I see this more often than almost anything else. A patient will tell me, "I'm doing my walks like you said," but when I watch them for just a few seconds, the issue becomes obvious. The head is drifting forward, the shoulders are rounding in, and the eyes are pointed down toward the ground. It feels natural, especially if you've spent years reading, using a phone, or sitting at a desk. But during walking, this position quietly changes everything happening inside your body. Let's start with the neck and spine. Your head weighs around 10 to 12 pounds. When it sits directly over your shoulders, your body handles that weight efficiently. But the moment your head shifts forward, even by an inch or two, the load on your neck and upper back increases dramatically. Over the course of a 20-minute walk, that added strain builds into muscle tension, stiffness, and sometimes even headaches. Many people assume this is just part of aging, but in reality, it's often a correctable mechanical issue. Now, consider your breathing. When your shoulders roll forward and your chest collapses, your lungs can't fully expand. That means you're taking in less oxygen with every breath. Less oxygen leads to quicker fatigue, lower endurance, and that familiar feeling of being worn out after what should have been a light walk. It's not always your fitness level, it's your posture limiting your body's efficiency. There's also a deeper concern that doesn't get talked about enough: balance. After 60, your body relies more on alignment and visual awareness to stay stable. When your head is forward and your gaze is down, your center of gravity shifts. Your steps become slightly less coordinated, and your ability to react to uneven ground decreases. That may not matter on a perfectly smooth sidewalk, but real life isn't perfectly smooth. One missed curb, one uneven patch, and suddenly the risk of a fall becomes very real. In many parts of the United States, older adults walk in neighborhoods with cracked pavement, sloped driveways, or busy pedestrian areas. Good posture isn't about appearance, it's about safety in those everyday environments. So, what does proper posture actually look like? It's not rigid or forced. Imagine a gentle lift through the top of your head, as if something is guiding you upward. Your chin stays level, not tilted down. Your shoulders relax and settle slightly back, allowing your chest to open naturally. Your eyes look ahead, not at your feet, but at where you're going. It may feel unfamiliar at first, but within a few walks, most people notice they breathe easier, feel more balanced, and finish their walk with less tension. And here's the part that often surprises people. If your posture alone can change how your joints, lungs, and balance perform, what do you think happens when the very shoes you're wearing are quietly working against you with every single step? Mistake number 3, wearing the wrong shoes or keeping them too long. You might not think twice about the shoes you wear on your daily walk, but what if I told you that the wrong pair could be the hidden reason behind your knee pain, your stiff hips, or that lingering ache in your lower back? This is something I see all the time, especially among older adults across the US. Many people continue wearing the same sneakers for years because they still look fine. The soles aren't torn, the fabric isn't ripped, and they feel comfortable enough. But here's the part most people don't realize: shoes don't fail on the outside, they fail on the inside where you can't see it. As we age, the natural cushioning in our feet begins to change. The fat pads on the bottom of your feet, which once acted like shock absorbers, gradually thin out. At the same time, the muscles and ligaments that support your arches may weaken, making your feet more vulnerable to flattening or instability. That means your shoes are no longer just an accessory. They become your primary line of defense against impact. Every step you take creates force, and without proper support, that force travels upward from your feet into your ankles, your knees, your hips, and eventually your spine. If your shoes are worn out or poorly designed, they fail to absorb that impact. Over time, this can accelerate joint wear, worsen arthritis symptoms, and even contribute to balance issues. I've had patients who focused on stretching, walking regularly, even improving posture, but continued to experience pain. And when we looked closer, the issue wasn't their effort, it was their footwear. Once they switched to properly supportive walking shoes, the difference was noticeable within weeks. There are a few key things your walking shoes should provide. First, cushioning. Not overly soft, but enough to absorb the shock of each step, especially in the heel and forefoot. Second, arch support that gently follows the natural shape of your foot, not rigid, but structured enough to prevent your foot from collapsing inward. Third, flexibility in the front of the shoe, allowing your foot to move naturally as you walk. And just as important as choosing the right shoe is knowing when to replace it. If you walk regularly, even just 20 to 30 minutes a day, your shoes typically need to be replaced about once a year, sometimes sooner. The materials that provide support and cushioning break down over time, even if the shoe still looks perfectly fine on the outside. This is especially important for seniors living in suburban or urban areas in the US, where sidewalks, pavement, and hard surfaces are part of everyday walking. These surfaces increase impact, making proper footwear even more critical. Think of your shoes as part of your health routine, not just something you wear, but something that protects your mobility, your independence, and your ability to stay active without pain. Because here's the reality: you can have perfect posture and a great walking routine, but if the foundation under your feet is compromised, everything above it pays the price. And that leads to an important question. What if the problem isn't just how you walk or what you wear, but how often you walk in the first place? If you're still watching and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 1 below to let me know you're here. Now let's keep going with point number 4. Mistake number 4, walking inconsistently, the weekend only trap. It might feel like you're doing the right thing, saving up your energy all week and then going for a long, satisfying walk on the weekend, but your body doesn't recognize effort and burst. It only responds to patterns. I've seen this habit over and over again, especially among older adults who are still busy with family, errands, or even part-time work. There's a genuine intention to stay active, but the schedule ends up looking like this: very little movement during the week, followed by one long walk, maybe an hour or more, on Saturday or Sunday. On the surface, it feels productive. You finish the walk tired, maybe even proud, but physiologically, this pattern works against you. After 60, your body depends on consistency to maintain strength, circulation, and joint health. When you walk regularly, even for short periods, your muscles receive repeated signals to stay active. Your blood vessels adapt, becoming more efficient. Your joints stay nourished through frequent movement. But when activity is infrequent, those systems never fully engage. So when you suddenly go for a long walk after several days of inactivity, your body is unprepared. Your muscles are less responsive, your joints less conditioned, and your cardiovascular system has to work harder to meet the sudden demand. That's why so many people experience unusual fatigue during or after the walk, soreness the next day, especially in the knees or hips, stiffness that lingers longer than expected. And here's where it becomes problematic. Many older adults interpret that discomfort as a warning sign. Maybe walking isn't right for me anymore. They begin to cut back, thinking they're protecting themselves. But the truth is, it's not the walking that's the issue, it's the inconsistency. Your body thrives on repetition, not intensity. It doesn't need one perfect workout. It needs regular, manageable movement that it can adapt to over time. In the United States, this pattern is especially common in suburban and car dependent environments where daily walking isn't built into routines. Without intentional effort, it's easy to go days without meaningful movement. The solution is surprisingly simple, but it requires a shift in mindset. Instead of asking, how much can I do today? Then start asking, what can I repeat consistently this week? Even 15 to 25 minutes of walking done most days of the week will do far more for your heart, your joints, and your long term mobility than one long session. If you're just getting back into it, start with 3 days a week. Let your body adjust, then gradually build from there. This isn't about pushing harder, it's about building a rhythm your body can trust. Because when your body knows what to expect, it adapts. And when it adapts, everything from your balance to your endurance begins to improve. But there's one more habit that many people overlook completely, and it doesn't involve how often you walk. It involves what you're doing during the walk itself that could be putting your safety at risk without you even noticing. Mistake number 5, walking while distracted, especially with your phone. It doesn't seem like a big deal. Just a quick glance at your phone while you walk, maybe checking a message or reading the news. But this one habit has become one of the most underestimated risks for adults over 60. I've seen it more and more in recent years. People are out for their daily walk, doing something good for their health, but their eyes are locked on a screen. It feels harmless. After all, you're still moving, right? But here's what's actually happening behind the scenes. As we age, our balance system becomes more dependent on visual input. Your inner ear, your joints, and your nervous system all contribute to stability. But after 60, they don't respond as quickly or as precisely as they once did. That means your brain relies more heavily on what you see in front of you to keep you upright and coordinated. Now take that visual input away. When your eyes are focused on a phone, your brain loses critical information about your surroundings: uneven sidewalks, small cracks in pavement, curbs, steps, or slight changes in elevation. These may seem minor, but they are exactly the kind of hazards that lead to missteps. And here's the reality many people don't fully appreciate: falls are not just accidents at this stage of life. They are events that can change everything. A simple fall can lead to a fractured wrist, a hip fracture, hospitalization, and in some cases, a permanent loss of independence. This is especially relevant in many parts of the United States, where sidewalks can be uneven, lighting conditions vary, and weather, rain, leaves, or even light snow can create unpredictable walking surfaces. But the risk doesn't stop at your feet. Using your phone while walking also changes your posture. Your head tilts downward, your shoulders round forward, and your breathing becomes more shallow. Over time, this reinforces the same harmful posture patterns we discussed earlier, adding strain to your neck, reducing oxygen intake, and making your walk less efficient. There's also a neurological side to consider. Walking, when done with awareness, is more than just physical exercise. It trains your brain. It improves coordination, reaction time, and spatial awareness. These are the exact skills that help prevent falls and maintain independence as you age. But when your attention is absorbed by a screen, that benefit disappears. Your body is moving, but your brain is disengaged. The solution is simple, but it requires discipline. If you're going to walk, let it be a dedicated activity. Keep your phone in your pocket. If you enjoy listening to something, use earbuds for music or a podcast, but allow your eyes to stay on your environment and your mind to stay connected to your movement. Because at this stage of life, protecting your balance is not optional, it's essential. And here's something worth reflecting on. If small, everyday habits like this can quietly increase your risk without you noticing, what would happen if you adjusted all 5 of these walking habits together and gave your body the conditions it actually needs to stay strong, stable, and independent in the years ahead? The small walking habits that shape your future health. There's a quiet truth about aging that most people don't talk about openly. Your body doesn't suddenly break down overnight. It changes gradually, subtly, often in ways you don't notice until something feels off. A little stiffness here, a bit of fatigue there, slight imbalance, and over time, those small signals begin to add up. Walking, for many older adults across the United States, becomes the one daily habit they rely on to stay independent. It feels simple, safe, familiar. But what this entire discussion reveals is something deeper. It's not just whether you walk, it's how you walk that determines whether your body strengthens or slowly wears down. After 60, your joints are less forgiving, your muscles recover more slowly, and your balance system becomes more dependent on awareness and coordination. That means small mistakes, starting too fast, poor posture, worn out shoes, inconsistent routines, or even simple distractions don't just reduce the benefit of walking. They can quietly accelerate strain on your body. And here's where it becomes even more important. What you do during the day doesn't stay isolated to those moments. It carries into the night. Poor movement patterns can lead to tighter muscles, reduced circulation, and lingering joint stress that follows you into sleep. You may wake up feeling stiff, restless, or fatigued, not realizing that the way you moved earlier in the day played a role. This is what makes the body feel more fragile with age, not because it's weak, but because it becomes more sensitive to how it's treated. The encouraging part is this: that sensitivity works both ways. When you understand your body better, when you walk with intention, support your joints properly, move consistently, and stay aware, you begin to create a different outcome. Your body responds, it adapts, it becomes more stable, more efficient, and more resilient over time. Think about where you want your health to be 1 year from now, or 3, or even 5. Do you want to move with confidence, walk without pain, maintain your independence? Those outcomes aren't decided by one big change. They're shaped by small daily habits done correctly, repeated consistently. Walking is one of the most powerful tools you have, but like any tool, its impact depends on how you use it. And now that you understand what may have been working against you, the real question becomes, what changes will you start making today so your future body feels stronger, not more limited? These lessons are meant to inspire you to live fully and authentically. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Take a moment to reflect and share one thing you've learned and plan to apply in your own life. Let's support each other on this journey toward embracing these truths. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment with 1. If not, feel free to comment with 0. Your feedback means a lot to us. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content like this. Thank you for watching, and here's to living life on your own terms.